Hey there, guys. Chet here. There's a massive lie in the business world right now. Everyone tells you that if you want to automate your business, you have to pay for expensive tools. They tell you that you need to hire a developer or pay a monthly subscription to Zapier just to connect your apps. Most business owners believe this. They think that automation is scary and expensive, so they keep doing everything manually. They waste hours every week copying and pasting data because they're afraid of the bill. But I'm going to tell you the truth. You're likely burning money for no reason. If you're paying Zapier to do simple things like sending an email when you close a deal, you're getting ripped off. You are paying for a middleman when you could be going direct to the source. Pipedrive has a robot built inside of it that's completely free. It is already included in your plan, and most people ignore it. However, you can't just cancel your Zapier account today. There's a specific invisible wall where the free Pipedrive tools stop working. If you try to force Pipedrive to do everything, you will break your business. Now, the secret to winning is knowing exactly where the line is. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the free tools to save money and exactly when you should open your wallet for the heavy lifting. If you want to follow along and build these automations with me, I have a special offer just for you. Click that link that we've put in the description to get an exclusive 30-day free trial of Pipedrive. This is double the standard trial that you will get on their website. It gives you a full month to test everything that I'm about to show you. And if you decide to keep using it after the trial, the discount is applied automatically when you use my link, which means you'll be getting the same powerful Pipedrive for less than what everyone else is paying. And I've included a link to my complete Pipedrive Academy course, which takes you from zero to expert entirely free. Grab those links and let's get into the strategy. Now let's start with the tools that you already have. Pipedrive comes with a feature called workflow automation. I'm constantly surprised by how many users never click this tab. They sign up for Pipedrive and immediately go buy Zapier without checking what is in the box. The biggest reason to use Pipedrive native automation is speed. I'm not just talking about how fast the robot runs. I'm talking about how fast you can build it. When you're inside of Pipedrive, you have access to all of your data instantly. You do not have to connect an API or map fields or run test data. You just click a button that says add automation and you're done. For anything that happens entirely inside your CRM, you should always use the native tool. Let's have a real example. You have a deal that you just moved to the negotiation stage. You want to create a task for your assistant to draft a contract. You do not need Zapier for this. You can build this rule inside of Pipedrive in about 30 seconds. You set the trigger to deal stage changed and the action to create activity. It's simple and it's instant. Another massive benefit is cost. Zapier charges you based on tasks. Every time an automation runs, it counts against your monthly limit. If you have a high volume business with thousands of leads moving through your pipeline, those little tasks add up to a relatively large bill. Pipedrive does not charge you per task. If you can run that contract creation automation a million times a day, your bill will not change. If you can build it natively, you are essentially printing free money by avoiding Zapier fees. One of the most ignored features of native automation is email. A lot of people think they need a fancy email marketing platform just to send out those simple messages. This is simply not true. If you just want to send a quick text-based email to a client when they miss a meeting, you can do that right inside of Pipedrive. Now look, imagine a prospect does not show up for a demo call. You mark the activity as lost or as a no-show. You can have Pipedrive automatically trigger a polite email that says, "Sorry we missed you, let's reschedule." You can even use templates that you have already written so the email looks professional and personal. This is a perfect example of where people try to overcomplicate things. They connect Pipedrive to MailChimp just to send that one single email. It's overkill. It introduces a delay and it adds a point of failure. By keeping it inside of Pipedrive, the email comes from your actual server and it shows up in your sent folder. It looks like you typed it yourself, which is exactly what you want in a sales conversation. Now we have to look at the other side. Pipedrive automation is great, but it's not a genius. It is a very linear thinker. It's good at doing one thing after another in a straight line. It is very bad at making complex decisions. The biggest limitation you will hit is the lack of paths. You cannot tell Pipedrive to split an automation into two different directions based on complex logic. You can use simple filters to stop an automation, but you cannot branch it out. For example, you cannot say, if the deal is worth $10,000, do X, and if it's worth $5,000, do Y, all in the same automation. You would have to build two completely separate automations to handle that. There's also a limit on how many steps you can have. Depending on which plan you are on Pipedrive, it caps the number of actions you can put in a single workflow. If you're on the advanced plan, you are limited to a certain number of actions, But if you have a massive onboarding sequence that needs to do 50 different things over the course of 6 months, you're going to hit a wall very quickly. And finally, there's the issue of the outside world. Pipedrive lives in a bubble. Its native automation can only really see what's happening inside of Pipedrive. It can't see that you just got a new subscriber on your YouTube channel. It cannot see that someone just filled out a form on your website. This is where the native tools fail and where we have to look for help. This brings us to the heavy artillery. Zapier is the bridge between your CRM and the rest of the universe. The number one reason to use Zapier is when the trigger event happens outside of Pipedrive. Think about your calendar. If you use a tool like Calendly to book meetings, that is an external event. Pipedrive does not know that booking happened until someone tells it. Zapier is the messenger. You build a Zap that watches your Calendly account. When a new booking comes in, Zapier grabs that data, pushes it into Pipedrive to create a deal. There's no way to do this with native automation because the starting gun was fired in a different app. You also need Zapier when you need to change your data. Pipedrive takes data exactly as it is, right? Zapier can actually change data. It has formatter tools that can capitalize names or reformat phone numbers or do math equations before it saves the information. If you need to calculate a commission percentage before creating the deal, Zapier can do that math for you in a split second. Pipedrive cannot do math on its own. Real businesses use a lot of different software. You might use Asana for project management and Slack for team chat and Xero for accounting. Native automation struggles to talk to all of these things at once. Pipedrive has a few basic integrations. You can tell it to send a Slack message when a deal is won, but it is very basic. You cannot customize the message very much. With Zapier, you can build a masterpiece. You can say, when a deal is won, do these 5 things. First, create a project in Asana with a due date of next week. Second, send a message to the sales channel in Slack with the deal value and the sales rep name. Third, create an invoice in Xero. Fourth, add a customer to the special VIP list in MailChimp. Zapier executes all of these actions simultaneously across 4 different platforms. It acts as the central brain of your operation. Trying to duct tape this together using native integrations is messy and frustrating. Zapier gives you a visual map of how your entire business operates. So, which one should you choose? The answer is obviously both, but you have to be smart about how you divide the work. You should look at automation like a construction project. Pipedrive is your general contractor who handles the day-to-day work on the site. Zapier is the specialist you bring in for the complex writing. My rule of thumb, pretty simple. If the trigger is inside of Pipedrive and the action is inside of Pipedrive, keep it native. Do not pay Zapier to move a deal from stage A to stage B. That is a waste of money. But if the trigger is external or if the logic requires a decision tree, then maybe move it to Zapier. By following this rule, you keep your Zapier bill low because you're only paying for the high-value tasks that actually require that level of power. You're not clogging up your task quota with simple admin work. One thing you have to be careful about with Zapier is that it can get complicated very fast. You can build Zaps that have 50 steps and 10 different paths. Now, this is powerful, but it's also fragile. If one of those steps breaks, the whole thing stops working. Native automations are generally more stable because they're built by the Pipedrive team specifically for their platform. They are less likely to break when there is a software update. When you build a massive workflow in Zapier, you are taking on the responsibility of maintaining it. You have to check it to make sure that it still runs. That is why I always recommend keeping things as simple as possible. If you can break a complex Zapier workflow into 2 smaller native automations, then do it. Reliability is more important than cleverness. You want a system that works while you're sleeping, not one that requires you to be constantly fixing bugs. At the end of the day, your goal is to remove humans from the process, right? You want your salespeople selling, not clicking buttons. Pipedrive native automation is the low-hanging fruit. It is right there and it is free. You should squeeze every single drop of value out of it before you even look at another tool. Go through your current sales process. Look for every single time that you manually create a task or send an email and ask yourself, can Pipedrive do this for me? I bet you'll find at least 5 hours of work a week that you can offload to the native robot. Once you've maxed out the native tools, then look at where maybe the gaps are. Look for the black holes where data is not moving between your apps. That is where you plug in Zapier. Don't let the fear of complexity stop you from automating. You do not need to build a spaceship on day one. Start with the simple native rules inside of Pipedrive. Get comfortable with the simple logic. Once you master the basics, you will naturally start to see opportunities for the bigger integrations. If you're ready to start building your own automated empire, make sure that you click the link below. Grab that 30-day free trial so that you have plenty of time to experiment, and definitely join the free course where I walk you through building these exact automations step by step on your screen. Automation is the only way to scale without burning out. Start building your machine today. I will see you in the next video.